Hi everybody, my name is Rachel. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I want to take the opportunity to share with you guys my birth story and pregnancy journey with my last pregnancy, which was just a very short 2 years ago. I've been thinking about it a lot, especially now that I am 22 weeks pregnant with our second baby, and we are super excited. I always wish that I would have taken the opportunity at the time to make a pregnancy vlog, but I didn't, so nonetheless, I'm doing it now and just wanted to share it all with you guys. So let's go back to January 2016. My husband, which was my boyfriend at the time, we were together already for 5 years, and we were wanting to be more of a family, to have a family, I should say. For the very first time in my life, I distinctly remember this. I was washing the dishes, and for the very first time, I had it in my heart that I wanted a child. I had not gotten pregnant, nor was I trying to get pregnant at all. In fact, we had taken some precautions not to get pregnant for, I'd say it was probably at least a year, maybe close to a year and a half. And I remember distinctly just standing there washing the dishes, and for the very first time in my life, I asked God, I was like, "Dear Lord, I want to have a baby." And I had always pictured myself growing up, I wanted to have a family, all that, but could never really see myself as being somebody's mom. Didn't ever have a time frame or anything like that. I just was like, in the future, it'll happen. When it's the time, it'll happen. I was ready at this point, and I had asked God, I want to have a baby. So my husband and I, we went to the doctor. I found an OB. I didn't even have one at the time. I was a little bit concerned because I had not gotten pregnant, and I wasn't on birth control for like a year and a half. Like, not that we were trying to get pregnant, but I was just kind of like, I have never gotten pregnant. And so we went to the doctor just to make sure that everything's okay and all that. And she started to discuss options with us and telling us, there's all these expensive tests that you can do for both yourself and your significant other. And I was just feeling overwhelmed. So before we left, she's like, "Well, I need you to take a pregnancy test, just routine, And so I did that, and then I waited in the lobby, was just waiting for them to hurry up and tell me, you're not pregnant, so we could go eat. I was hungry, just wanted to, hurry up and leave. I was waiting there, and the front desk girl called me over, and she said, "You're pregnant." I was like, "No way." And she's like, "Yeah, you're pregnant." I started jumping for joy that immediate moment, and was just jumping in my husband's arms, and was just so excited. It was the most exciting thing ever, and of course I needed proof. I was like, "Let me see the test, I gotta see this." So they showed me the test, and they gave it to me in a little baggie, and so we left. As soon as we left, we got in the car, and we just prayed and thanked God for this blessing and dedicated our baby to the Lord. I was so excited and shocked, and I could not wait to tell my parents. I believe I had texted my dad and said, what time are you going to be home? And that we were going to go over there because we wanted to see them. So we went over to my parents' house and waited for my dad. He was there within a very short time after us. He started to explain to my parents that we were wanting to have a baby, and that everything the doctor had told us and all the expensive tests and everything that we were going to have to possibly do. And then at the end, my husband said, "But we're not going to have to do any of them because you guys are going to be grandparents." At first they were like what? Because it was just kind of like so much information, and it took a second for them to process it. And as soon as they did, my mom and I were just in tears, and my dad was so excited. Everybody was so excited. I was pregnant. God had answered my prayers, and I was already 6 weeks pregnant. So when I had prayed, I was already pregnant. So the Lord already knew what I had wanted before I even knew what I wanted. And so it was just such a beautiful thing. The first, I'd say 3-4 months with my baby girl, her name is Mila. I was pretty sick. I had morning sickness, pretty bad. But it was just like that morning sickness where you felt sick all the time, but didn't ever throw up. I think I only threw up like maybe once or twice throughout my pregnancy with her. But it was just like the feeling of just uneasiness all the time. Luckily, in the evenings, I had relief. In the evening was the time that I could eat more. I remember just throughout those first few months, all I did was eat fruit because that was like the most settling thing for me. Yeah, just going through the morning sickness, which I'm sure a lot of you moms are going through right now or have experienced. It's not fun, but it's manageable. So the doctor that I was with initially, it didn't work out with her. Every visit that we had for the first, I think it was the first 5 months of the pregnancy were just nothing but chaos and confusion. She has a very thick accent, which I think was maybe possibly part of the issue, but not really. The main issue was that like she was like always in a rush, like to just like get the information down to you, lay it all out, and just be like, okay, do you have any questions? And it's just like we were just always like, yeah, we have a lot of questions, but we don't even know what to ask. Like, it was just a lot of information thrown at us. And also, like, there was a lot of miscommunications with the testing, like having to do like the Down syndrome testing and the anatomy screening, like the blood work. A couple of times for like the different testing, they didn't even send it over to the lab, so I was there having to call back and forth. And even before that, with my nausea medication, they just weren't helping me. So I was just like, oh my gosh, this was very new to me, pregnancy, everything, just not knowing anything and really relying, you really rely on your doctor for that support. Yes, you have your family and all that, and they support you too, but you want to have that relationship with your doctor. I was just very sad about that, and so I started to just pray and search for another doctor, and then I found one. She was just an amazing doctor. Her name's Dr. Brodsky, and I absolutely loved her. The moment that I went into the office girl, I started to tell her my situation, and I guess she could tell that I needed a hug. I don't know. She's like, hold on a second. So she came around and she's like, can I give you a hug? And I was like, yeah. And so she gave me a hug and just made me feel so welcomed. And so I knew that was the doctor that I needed to be with, even though I hadn't met her yet. And then when I did meet her, she was amazing. She came in, gave me a big old hug, and my husband, which was just so different because I had, never had that type of relationship with the doctor. So I knew I was in the right place. Going forward with the pregnancy, I had a great pregnancy. My sickness just kind of went away around, I'd say 4 months, 3-4 months. And after that, everything was pretty good. Of course, pregnancy is pregnancy. Like, it's not the most comfortable thing to experience, especially as you get into like the later part and you get a lot bigger and all that. But the experience of it is just absolutely wonderful. Like, I love being pregnant, even though I have a lot of back issues. I have fibromyalgia and stuff like that. So I have a lot of like body issues that it just causes a lot of pain, but I'm managing it, and it's just something that I love. So I'm really excited to be pregnant again. So it is the next day. I got really busy halfway through making my video yesterday, and so I just wanted to come back and finish my video and also insert this somewhere into the video because it was a very important part of our pregnancy. On October 18th, 2016, I was at home cooking and my husband came home. So my husband said, come and sit down real quick. And so I went and sat down, and he just professed his love to me, got on his knee and proposed to me. And I just can't begin to tell you how exciting it was. I just thinking about it, I get so excited. I'm just so blessed. I have such an amazing man of God who I love so much and who just loves and adores me as well. And I just couldn't be happier. December 3rd, my husband and I got married, and it was just a beautiful, small, little intimate ceremony with just both sides of our family. And my dad, he is a minister, so my dad married us, and it was just absolutely beautiful and so special. My mom and my aunt, they decorated the house and made it just really special for us, and it was really exciting. December 30th came. Of course, the due date is just an approximate date. You really don't know. And I didn't go into labor. I think to be induced, I was scheduled for the 2nd. It was either the 1st or the 2nd of January. And so I didn't want to be induced, but I was really anxious to have her. So we started to do like everything we possibly could to get the whole labor started. So, I mean, we tried pineapple, a lot of exercise, a lot of walking, spicy food, sex, everything, like everything you could think of. Like, I'm trying to think of it right now, but like everything you could think of and Google, like I tried, except the castor oil. I was like, nah, I'm not going to do castor oil. Like, why? So you could have like violent diarrhea. Like, absolutely not all the way. Like, and if it does throw you into labor, like you're gonna have diarrhea while you're in labor. Like, it just didn't sound like a good thing. So I tried everything but that. It was December 31st, and we were wanting to, celebrate New Year's, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to go anywhere because I had been having Braxton Hicks like crazy. The crazy contractions were kind of like throughout my whole entire pregnancy, but they were like a lot, like really frequent for like the last, I'd say like 2-3 weeks. Just kind of getting anxious and nervous. Like, I don't know if I want to go anywhere because, like, what if I go into labor? I don't know. That was just a thought of mine. So it was, I decided like around 8, I was like, I guess I'll get ready. And I was like telling her, texting her back and forth at the time, like, I'm getting a lot of contractions. Like, they're kind of like coming like more and more. I talked to my husband and I decided, okay, well, let's go ahead and let's get ready. Let's celebrate together, because this might be like our last little celebration just together, just you and I before the baby's here. So we went and we ate and we had a good time. And after we ate, we went for a walk. We brought a bunch of those little sparklers, and we were out there when it hit midnight, and we're out there just celebrating. I just started feeling them more and more, so much pressure, just like crazy. But I don't want to say a whole lot because, like, I had been experiencing this already for a while, but it was just a little bit more. So it was like 12:20, and we were tired, and we decided, we're going to go home. We're going to leave. And like, as we were like starting to drive away, I started to feel like liquid. And it's just like, what the heck? And like, when you're peeing, like, it's a totally different feeling. Like, got home, and the first thing I did was go to the bathroom, because being pregnant, you have to pee like a million times anyway. So I went to the bathroom, and as soon as I sat down before I even started to pee, liquid started coming out. Not like tons, but some. He was extremely tired, so I was like, well, let's just rest for a little bit. You go ahead and sleep for a little bit, and I'm just gonna chill and relax. Because, like, I mean, come on, like, how am I gonna go to sleep? Like, I was so excited. Like, there was no way I was gonna go to sleep. So he laid down and he started to rest, and I was just like, I want to make myself like feel pretty. So, like, when I take pictures and whatever, like, I'll look decent. Like, I don't know how good I'll look by the end of this, but at least I'll look decent for the pictures. So I sat there on the bed, and I was like doing my makeup, and the contractions started to come like harder, like pretty much right away. Mucus plug came out, I'd say it was probably like a week prior, and I think it was like probably 3 weeks before that, like a piece of it came out. Right after my water broke, I started to feel a lot of contractions, but they were still manageable. So I started to like progress, get a little bit stronger and stronger, and I was just like sitting there quietly doing my makeup and kind of like stopping in between contractions and going again. And it was also a really good way to keep my mind busy, something to do, And then they started to get worse and worse as I started to finish my makeup and everything. So I woke up my husband and told him, I need to get to the hospital now. I believe it was like 2:30 in the morning. And I gave my mom a call, and I was like, Mom, I'm in labor now, and we're going to be going to the hospital. She said that she had just kind of fallen asleep. She was probably asleep for a little bit, but my mom, she's like awesome on top of everything, and she like jumped up awake, like out of bed pretty quick. So she's like, okay, well, come and pick me up. So we picked her up, and it seemed like the hospital was far. Like, the hospital's not even that far at all. Got me into a room pretty quick, into a labor and delivery room. Luckily, we were like the only people there. So it was nice. It was really quiet, and nobody was there, so we had a lot of attention. Okay, so when I went into the hospital, they checked me, and I was only 2 centimeters dilated, which at my doctor's visit, I was also only 2 centimeters dilated at that time. Hours later, they kept on checking me to see how I was progressing, and I was still stuck at only 2 centimeters. So let's fast forward. So it was like I believe it was like at the 16-hour mark. By that time, I was shaking. Good morning, princess. And here's the little stinker right here. How'd you sleep, baby?
I sleep good.
Oh, you sleep good. I'm so glad, Mama.
Where's Dad?
Daddy's at work.
I want my dad home.
Oh, you want your daddy home? I know, I want your daddy home too, baby. He'll be home soon. Come on. So it has now been 16 hours that I have been in labor. I forgot to mention that within that period of time, I think it was probably like within the 14-hour mark, the nurse suggested that to try and speed things along, since I was still stuck at only 2 centimeters, that she would give me pitocin. That was just like the worst mistake ever, to be honest, and for this pregnancy, I will definitely not be having pitocin. But I was nervous, wanted to speed things along. I had the idea in my head, which I know is just crazy, but at the time I was just nervous and anxious, and it was my first time. I was like, if I don't, I guess maybe get this baby out within like a certain amount of time, like there could be maybe possibly complications, or them want me to have a C-section, which I did not want. And so just a lot of fears that ran through my head. So I was just like, okay, I'll go ahead and do the pitocin. She ended up giving it to me 2 different times, and it brought on the contractions so strong, like so intense, extremely strong. And so we hit the 16-hour mark, and I'm still stuck at 2 centimeters and getting these extremely hard contractions. And at this point, I am shaking. My body is shaking, and I just can't handle the pain anymore, because my body's just trying to do, bless you, Mommy. My body's trying to do, what it should do to dilate, and I wasn't dilating. And so my body was just having this reaction. I was just like convulsing, shaking really bad. So the doctor came in, and she said, basically you need to have an epidural. If not, then you're going to continue with this route. You're not going to be able to relax to have your body, so you can dilate, and pretty much it's just going to kind of continue on, unless if you get the epidural, so this way we can get things moving. So I definitely did not want the epidural. Like, I tried so hard not to have the epidural, but at this point I was desperate. I was in so much pain. I was just so desperate. So I felt defeated, and so I went ahead and did it. You shouldn't feel defeated if you have to get an epidural. By all means, like, do what's best for you, do what's best for your body. Make as many checklists as you want. It doesn't mean that it's gonna happen that way, and it's most likely not gonna happen that way. So so I now know that. Anesthesiologist came in, and that was, I don't even know if it was a mistake or what, because it was the most painful experience I have ever had. I did not shed one tear the whole entire time I was in labor, going through all that pain. But the moment that he stuck in the needle into my back, first they start with the numbing. He stuck it into my back. I just started just crying, just uncontrollably. It was just way too much pain. What he did is he didn't put it in right. So he had to maneuver it like 3 different times, just the numbing needle. And then when he did the epidural, he had to adjust the epidural like 2-3 times also. So I got poked in my back about like 7 different times. Extremely excruciating pain. The doctor knew that he was messing up. Like, you could just tell on his face. You could tell my nurse's face. Like, he was, the anesthesiologist was all like sweating and all red. Like, you could tell he was nervous, and my nurse was just like, what the heck? After he finished the epidural, I felt it in my back the whole entire time, and I was numb, like all down there, but I still felt the contractions. They weren't as strong as they were before, but I still felt them. It was manageable going through those contractions. They were still strong, but not as bad. So my body started to relax a little bit more, and probably within an hour, I started to dilate, things started to progress. It was somewhere within an hour to 2 hours after I got the epidural. When you're in labor, like everything's just kind of a blur, just from everything going on. So the time frame is just kind of a little bit off. Sorry about that, but it was within a 2-hour time frame. My body just all of a sudden just like had some kind of reaction. I don't know. My body just started to. I started to shake again. I started to cry like really hard. And my mom called in the nurse and said, you need to come in and check her. So they came in and checked me, and she was already right there ready to come out. And from what I have always heard and what they told me, you'll feel a lot of pressure when you feel ready to push. And I didn't feel any of this pressure or anything, but my body just started to it knew like it wanted to start pushing the baby, but I didn't know because I couldn't feel anything. So they said, okay, it's time. My doctor was not the doctor that delivered Mila. I didn't even know that's not how it works. I guess if your doctor's not on call, then you don't have your doctor. So it was fine. At that point, I didn't even care. I knew I was in good hands, and I was there with my husband and my mom. So I was happy. So they got me ready and prepped, and I was really nervous to push her out because I was just like telling my mom, like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do this. And she's like, yeah, you definitely can do this. And I think it was only within like 20 to 30 minutes I was able to push her out, and it was just so exciting. They put a mirror in front of me, which made it a lot easier to be able to see, to gauge, pushing her out. It was just such a beautiful experience. Like what a woman's body can do is just amazing. And as soon as I did, my husband, he caught her and he pulled her out and he stuck her on my chest. And oh my gosh, it was just such an amazing feeling of accomplishment, just love, joy, just like all these feelings and emotions that you've never felt before, just all at one time. Waited for about like 3 minutes. I don't really remember, but just until like the pulsating stopped, so all the blood could return back to the baby. And then I just put her on my chest and cuddled with her, and she right away looked up at me as soon as I started to talk to her right away, and we sang happy birthday to her, and she was just like looking at me, and I was just like, wow, this is amazing. Love at first sight for sure. A good majority of my labor process, my dad was there for support as well. He just quietly sat off to the side, and it was nice just to have his support and his love, and that was just really nice. And then like towards the end, my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law, Maribel, they came to the hospital as well, and they were there too. But the only people that were in the room with me when I had her was just my husband and my mom, and that's what my husband and I wanted. So this is little Miss Mila Janae. She is 2, almost 2.5. I can't believe how fast time has gone by. And she is such a blessing to our family. And I'm just so blessed to have her. She's the most kindest, sweetest soul. She's extremely smart, really far advanced in like every area. She's already potty trained. Once in a great while there'll be an accident, but for like 99% of the time she is potty trained during the day and at night, and she's just such a blessing to us. She's very excited that we're going to be having another baby. She's going to be a big sister, and she's going to be the most best big sister ever. Love her so much. Yeah.
What's my touch soon? The Wawa.
What agua?
What's my Minnie Mouse Wawa?
Oh, your Minnie Mouse agua. We're going to be going to her cousin's birthday party today, and she got a bathing suit, little Minnie Mouse bathing suit, and so yeah, she's asking about that. She's excited. Well, thank you guys so much for taking the time out to watch this pregnancy story, birth story of Mila, and I really appreciate it. I'm going to be trying the best I can to be getting out more videos, especially now that I'm pregnant. I want to do some vlogs on the pregnancy and just keep you guys all up to date, and we are excited. So please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe, and we will be seeing you guys soon. All right, thank you and have a blessed day. Say bye, Mama.
Bye.